As with almost all things Trump, the Board of Peace for Gaza, um, in certain ways, especially the way it has been being talked about in the last few days, has been an interesting idea that could lead to something greater benefit for humanity and everything possible. But as like I started with all things Trump, the execution is terrible and destroys the whole meaning of the whole thing. Welcome to the Daily Objective. Today we will be talking about the Gaza's Board of Peace and the recent developments to it. Now, you might remember this Board of Peace going back to I'm basically several months now to when the ceasefire, the most recent ceasefire, was declared, that 20-point deal that has been put into works, although hasn't been moving much further. So the Board of Peace was created to, well, advance peace in Gaza, I guess. There have been several sort of developments in that area. At some point there was talk about, Tony Blair becoming like the sort of chair of it, different countries getting involved, different armies getting involved from different countries when it comes to disarming Hamas, and all of that. So let's talk about it. I mean, from the start, the ceasefire was, of course, wrong. This is not how you stop war. The actual way to demilitarize Hamas, to de-radicalize Hamas, to de-radicalize Palestinians, would be for Israel to take over and do that themselves, because I don't think anybody else can. And my reasoning for it is we already had the international involvement in Gaza. It was UNRWA that educated the Palestinians. It wasn't Hamas. It was somebody. Um, yeah, it was like that from the start. Um, so it is the international community, and the response coming from Trump is, well, let's bring in more international community to fix it. This won't help. Now, we've talked about several things like Turkey getting involved in Gaza, or other Arab countries. But the development right now has been that apparently Trump wants to make this Board of Peace alternative to the UN, possibly. There's been several talks in that regard. I think one was that entry to this Board of Peace would be like $1 billion, which is a weird price, almost symbolic. I mean, any country, 1 billion isn't really that much, pretty much for any country. So I'm wondering what exactly is the reasoning for the price. Besides, maybe, yeah, sort of like a symbolic entry. Now, when it comes to the alternative to the UN, it depends. Again, it sounds like a good idea, but a terrible execution. And why am I saying that? Alternative to the UN, I think, should be in regard that I think free nations should band together and kick out the dictatorships from the UN, or probably just leave the UN. I think that one is not really recoverable, but create some organizations of free nations that either keep check on each other or work together towards goals that promote more freedom, promote liberal democracy, promote the good Western enlightened ideas. Instead, what the UN is actually, using the words of a good friend of this channel, James Valiant, it's a dictatorship protection racket. That's what the UN actually, in reality, is. So I like the idea, let's leave the UN, although that's the first problem. Trump isn't talking about leaving the UN. He is basically talking about creating another organization. So here's the problem number one. Thank you, Bonnie, for your super chat. She's asking if DoorDash is sponsoring TDO, YouTube brand their ad. No, I think we just have monetization on, so YouTube does run ads. Although if DoorDash would like to, I'm sure we would be interested in direct sponsorships. But yeah, let's take a look at so this is the start, right? Creating another organization that isn't really that doesn't really mean that the UN is ending. It's just another organization. Separately, if you are going to create an organization that is supposed to be a good alternative to the UN, an organization that doesn't deal with dictatorships, why are you inviting Putin? Trump extended invitation to this board of peace to Putin, a person who is now actively waging war against the West, not against Ukraine alone. Putin is waging war on the West. He is helping Iranians kill Americans, and Europeans and Israelis. He is killing Ukrainians actively, who I consider part of the West. He's helping Houthis attack international shipping. He's inviting North Koreans to fight in Ukraine. You couldn't um, I mean, you couldn't get like a worse person to invite, really. The original UN, in a sense, was more more just because although even that one had Soviet Union, but at least like it had three free countries and one relatively free country, as like the opposite to at least work against that. But no, now we are giving an invitation for Putin. For what? What is the goal of this? What is the goal of this board of peace? And that's the thing, right? I mean, somebody is challenging me that Trump's execution wasn't terrible. Have you been living under a rock? Every single of I don't think there is a single one. I might like agree with the decision he has taken. I might agree with even the results of it or things in that regard. But still, every single execution is terrible because there is no philosophy behind what he does. There is no broader understanding, broader view of the world that he's trying to put forward, right? He doesn't understand what is the role of America. He doesn't understand, I mean, he doesn't understand what he wants from the world, right? We are talking about the child in many aspects, like somebody who doesn't know what they want to do with their life, do not have any framework to judge things by, and this is the result of it, right? What is the point of the Board of Peace? What is its goal? Uh, I mean, the basic idea is to have peace in Gaza, but this is not how you achieve peace. You don't achieve peace by surrendering to Hamas, by giving Hamas half of their territory back, by allowing Hamas to rearm itself, by allowing Hamas to execute its civilians. You don't have peace in Iran by allowing them to murder their civilians. You don't have peace in Ukraine by allowing Putin to do whatever he wants. It's the opposite. You achieve peace by targeting evil, by destroying dictatorships, by challenging them when it's needed. That's the only way you can achieve peace. And if that was the goal of the Board of Peace, I would be for it. I want it. I want an alternative to the UN. I want some kind of association of free nations, some kind of a bloc to, harmonize trade barriers, to make trade easier, to make immigration easier, to make, to integrate military, like NATO, right? NATO acts in many ways as one military bloc. Um, it harmonizes equipment. It does a lot of great things in that regard. And I want an alternative like that to the UN. I think it would be beneficial for free nations. But this is not it. I think France has already been saying or signaling that they might not join this one. So who will it be then? Will it be Trump? Israel will join because unfortunately, I think Israel is signaling to join because they are not willing to do what is necessary in Gaza. You'll have like Putin, what then? Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, no European nations. Maybe Xi Jinping will join. Maybe we'll get him on. What is the point of that? Is this like a bully club where we invite the dictators? Is it making the worse, like even worse kind of the UN that we already have? I'm trying to look at the comments. Somebody says it feels like Trump made a secret agreement with CCP, Putin to split up regional territories. It's catchy. Um, I don't think so. I don't think he is that devious. I think he's just one he's corrupt in the way, I mean, if you look into how much he changes his mind based on, what somebody says, he is impressionable. He's and he's also um easily distractible. I mean, America kidnapped a leader of Venezuela. They kidnapped Maduro. And I feel like it's off the news. Nobody's really talking about it anymore, despite the fact that I'm trying to. I think the trial is on February or something. Like the trial should be in like the next month or next few months. So we'll probably talk about it then. But it feels like that's sort of like past. Like we're no longer talking about it. The VP will become president of Venezuela, I guess. I don't know if America will do anything about it. Uh, Trump was talking about Canada becoming a province of America. Uh, that kind of went away, right? Now the Greenland situation is the new one, which I want to go into. Um, so yeah, it feels like I don't think he's devious enough to be that sort of thing. Somebody says it's like he wants NATO to collapse so Putin can take what he wants and US can take what it wants. Yeah, but the thing, like US, like this is not beneficial for the US, right? US doesn't benefit from like annexing Canada. US doesn't benefit from annexing Greenland. US wouldn't benefit from like annexing Mexico, right? Like this is not to its benefit. This is not like a rational Russian domestic policy. Uh, America does a lot of trade with Canada. Uh, it's that's great thing to see. America is exporting a lot of like American military industry depends on exporting a lot of their weapons, right? The fact that the major supplier of America of NATO is America, are American companies. Uh, American standard is the NATO standard. If you like, and that's a big thing about NATO, right? It's the standardized thing. You know, like basically, I don't know how many people know this, but there is one bullet, one type of bullet we use for like your machine guns. We use the NATO. I think it's 556 caliber. Um, yeah, I think it is. It might be 762. I think it's 556. Like NATO round. That's and that's good because when you want to carry ammunition, you're just carrying one type because everyone is using the same type of ammunition. And then anybody can make it. This is like a harmonized thing. America is benefiting from it. America is benefiting from becoming or for being the protector of the seas, right? For protecting international shipping. America is benefiting from a lot of this position. And America losing that position, leaving NATO, leaving the seas for somebody else to take over would be bad for America. Um, like it's very superficial thinking of that, you just take over other country for fun. I mean, war sucks. War is bad. War is destructive. When it comes to, for example, China taking over Taiwan, right? That's not really a good strategic decision. That's not really beneficial to China. It's simply the collectivism of China that demands that it needs to take over Taiwan. That's what every dictatorship needs. It needs an external enemy. China needs Taiwan, in a sense. Russia needs to go after Ukraine. In some ways, they don't really have a choice in that regard, but it's bad for them. I mean, Russian war on Ukraine might actually end the Russian regime. That's how bad it is. Um, well, and in that regard, let's actually take a look at. So this has been a message to, uh, I think the Norwegian Prime Minister, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was PBS that originally reported on this, and many embassies. European embassies have talked about this, but this has been a letter to, I believe, Norwegian Prime Minister, but somebody can correct me, from Donald J. Trump. The list says, and this is about Greenland. The list says, "Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars, plus I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace. although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. And why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago. But we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have a complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, or DJT. James in the chat says that letter is insane. I don't know what else to call it than insane. Here we have President of the United States. He starts, crying about not receiving a Nobel Peace Prize. A complete second-hander. Nobel Peace Prize doesn't mean anything. Obama got it for nothing. Obama got it for literally nothing. There's nothing he did as a president. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the nomination for Obama to receiving the Nobel Peace Prize came before his inauguration. He wasn't even inaugurated as president when he received the Nobel Peace Prize. It means absolutely nothing. It only means something if you're a second-hander who believes in somebody else's rather than yourself. And just think about how much that influences somebody's policy, right? We had the FIFA giving Trump Peace Prize for some reason. We had the Venezuelan opposition leader coming to the White House and giving him the Nobel Peace Prize that she has received, because she has understanding that this is pointless, and I want to, I want what's good for Venezuela. I want to try to achieve it. But she's appeasing a bully that has no understanding of anything proper. Trump said, "I feel no longer an obligation to think purely of peace. I can only think about what is good and proper for the United States." Taking over Greenland hurts United States. I mean, maybe purchasing it, if Denmark was willing to sell it, purchasing it, maybe that's it. Although, again, trying to think of the United States of America as this expansionist, like a place that needs to expand outside of its borders in, I think, the modern setting. It's a difference between, the westward expansion, where simply people move to a land that, in many cases was simply empty, and then the American government organizing itself in that territory. I think it's different from America annexing Greenland, or even buying Greenland, or doing anything, or buying anything. It's just a weird thing to do, especially since every benefit that America would have from there, they already have. There are military bases. There are US military bases on Greenland. America has access to Greenland, although in any way they want. Russia and China cannot take over Greenland. China doesn't have navy. China doesn't have navy to go from the China Sea into the Arctic. They have no way of feasibly doing that. Russia cannot either. Russia has no ships. I think Russia has 5 ships in the north. Would it be the North Sea technically? Yeah. Well, either. Yeah, they have no way of just a reminder, if Russia, I think that Russia has one port in the top of Russia where you would go around Norway, and a bunch of ships in St. Petersburg. To go from St. Petersburg means going through Swedish and mainly German waters, not to mention British waters as well. And going from the top means going to Norwegian and British waters as well. All of those are NATO countries, and now especially, right? Because Finland joined NATO. All of those are countries that are in NATO. Russia would have to go with a few ships around that, while while it would have to fight the British fleet, the whole British fleet. I mean, this is a joke. The idea that Russia would somehow take over Greenland. And again, if they try to, America can help. We have Article 5. When a NATO nation is attacked, which Greenland is, because it's part of Denmark, Article 5 can be triggered, and we can do something about it. When was the only time? There was only one time when Article 5 was triggered. And this goes to when Trump says, uh, uh, something like he has done more for NATO than any person, any other person. NATO should do something for the United States. NATO did something. The only time Article 5 was triggered was on a 9/11. And every country joined United States into going after its enemies, whoever it wanted. Uh, the British joined America in the Iraq War. Uh, I believe even the countries because I believe I'm trying to because I think specifically even Slovakia joined the NATO after 9/11. No, no, no. Oh, I'm trying to. No, no, it was before. I think it was before. But again, I think there were a couple of countries that joined NATO after 9/11, so after the triggering of Article 5, and has still decided to help America, have still decided to help in any way they could to America. America was the only one that actually received a help from NATO. Now, of course, there is a sort of like a passive help, right? The fact that if you are in the NATO, you are able to, for example, restructure a lot of your military spending. And that's good. That's beneficial for America. That's why America pursued NATO ambition. That's why America wanted to do a lot of this because it wanted to assume the role of a protector because that is a great role to be in because you decide if you are the main person in NATO, you decide what happens. You decide what goes on. And Trump doesn't understand that. Somebody says, why hasn't Article 5 been activated? Russia been sending drones across Europe. So absolutely, I think it's the way one, for Article 5 to be triggered, somebody has to trigger it. So a country has to say, hey, this happened. Let's do this. And yeah, we've seen drones going into, I think, like a Polish territory. But it hasn't been triggered. I think Putin is trying to see what he can get away with. So he's sending drones, sending unmarked ships along the coast. He's trying to do that to see what he can get away with. I think there should be some response, and I think the greatest response would be help of Ukraine, would be telling Ukraine to attack Moscow, for example. Um, but yeah, one day we might find ourselves actually have to do something, and it won't be easy then. It's the easiest time that it was to do something is first time where a dictator tries to do something. Bonnie says, all it would take is for one diplomat, one world leader refuse to shake his hand. I mean, I think to some extent, yes. The fact is everybody is, well, it would have to be in proper way. I think it would have to be, and that's what sucks. We simply do not have sort of leaders willing to step up, right? The fact is that, like, just think about it. For a year now, Trump has been basically attacking NATO, and we still have EU countries like bumbling over each other about what to do, like what we should do. And the last time I checked, I think there is like in 5 years, maybe we'll start spending on NATO, right? Or we'll start increasing our military expenditures instead of like trying to form some alternative, trying to form some counterbalance to NATO. So I think, yeah, EU countries are slipping at the wheel, and I think that's why Trump is able to do a lot of this stuff. Sorry, I guess just to finish with the Greenland message. He says Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China, which again, Denmark shouldn't. That's why they are in NATO. Like no country can really protect itself. Like Ukraine also, probably without Western help, wouldn't be able to protect itself. Taiwan alone might not be able to protect itself from China. South Korea. If North Korea decided to like launch an invasion with nuclear weapons, South Korea might not be able to defend itself. Do we just abandon our allies because they are not able to do it by themselves? Denmark is in NATO to protect that. Like how much? Like why can't Putin say that? Ukraine cannot defend itself from some foreign aggressor, so Russia gets to take over all of Ukraine. This is not, and this is not like a random thing he said. This is a letter sent out. And he says, why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only a boat that landed there hundreds of years ago, and we had boats landing there also. What kind of thing is that? What kind of even rhetoric is that? The fact that uh, he, like, and isn't that's right? Yeah, their boats landed there first. Yeah, that's how property mainly works. Why does somebody own land in like the west of America? Is because probably their ancestors or somebody was first one to come there and claim that land, improve on that land, build a house there, build a railroad there. And that's how we recognize people's rights over nature, is that they claim it and they use it. That's how it always works, or that's how it should work properly. Denmark was there, it developed the land, it contacted with the I'm not sure if like the tribe people would be proper there, but sort of with like the native people there. Uh, and it decided to stay, right? Iceland, for example, also was part of the crown of Denmark. Iceland decided to be independent. Greenlanders want to stay with the crown, and they get to do so. That's how Kingdom worked, right? America didn't want to stand with the crown, and it didn't. Canada did, and Canada did. This is like a relationship they have. Um, like he's not asking what the Greenlanders want. He's not considering that at all. Uh, I'm not big on like international law in terms of like what country is legitimate, but Denmark is a legitimate country. Both Denmark and Greenland have free elections, have property rights, have are in NATO, are in trying to think if they are in EU or if they are in like I believe they are in the full EU bloc. So that like they have all these standards. Trump has no right to demand annexation, and he has no respect for any property rights. Well, with that glad episode, I think I've mainly summarized what I was talking about, what I wanted to talk about when it comes to both Greenland and the Board of Peace. So, yeah, a lot of these things are a great idea. We need an alternative to the UN. We need a new kind of foreign policy, but it's not America being a bully. It's America actually being the leader of the free world. Uh, and until we can get there, things are going to be tough. And somebody says he just wants Europe to pay their fair share of defense costs. There's so many different ways to go about it, and I don't think this is good. And he's failing at that, right? Trump was already a president and he didn't achieve that. So he failed. He's a failure. He didn't achieve what he wanted to. And like I said, I think there's like different ways to go around it. Um, not to mention like even that I think is but I think it's right. Like NATO countries should absolutely, not pay their fair share, but sort of decide together on what's an appropriate spending and how to do so. I think like even people who say they should pay more, I think many people don't understand what it actually means. Somebody's asking if Raz is okay. Raz is all good. I think he should be on tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, he's all good. So uh well, with that, I guess there will be no episode of the reality show today, but we will be back tomorrow with the episode of the daily objective, so make sure to join us for that. Thank you everybody for watching, and bye bye.